Today, we're gonna break down jibing on a surfboard, so let's get into it. I'm Evan Netch. If you're new to this YouTube channel, check out all of our videos. We're breaking down everything riding a surfboard and riding a surfboard strapless, from tacks, jibes, riding waves, airs. We're looking to help you progress your riding. So for more videos like this and more videos to come, feel free to subscribe below, and let's break down jibing on a surfboard here today. So for anybody who's ridden a surfboard, of course our board is directional. We can't simply stop and turn around just like on a twin tip, and we need to do a change of direction. And there's two ways to change direction, two basic ways. And one is a jibe, which is a downwind turn, and the other is a tack, which is an upwind turn. And I would say a jibe, a downwind turn, is maybe a little bit easier than a tack and used more common, and something that you can really progress off of as well. You know, when you start riding waves, as you do bottom turn and top turn, that is basically a series of jibes going down the wave as you're turning, going downwind. So a great way to learn a jibe, obviously, is riding a surfboard in just flat water, and it's something that everybody needs to learn. That way you can get back home. So let's break down how to do that jibe. One of the first things you actually need to evaluate in learning how to jibe is actually your stance and which way you're stronger, because that's going to help dictate whether you're going to be more comfortable to go into it heel side and come out toe side, or vice versa. So I'm regular footed, so I'm going to pretend I'm riding regular footed. I'm riding heel side, going this direction with the wind at my back. Now, it's going to be harder for myself to switch to toe side and then do my jibe on my right foot forward edge than it would be for me to turn the kite and now do my jibe left foot forward, coming around, and I come out going toe side, left foot forward, and then I switch to heel side, right foot forward. If I was to do it the other way, I'm riding along, I'm switching stance to my, let's call it my bad toe side edge. So it is a more challenging way to jibe. So for myself, if I'm riding and I'm here and the wind's at my back today, this direction, I'm actually going to always want to be switching my feet on my tack, let's say inbound, going the other direction from what I'm facing right now. So going, let's call it out on my heel side, left foot forward edge, I'm going to turn, I'm going to jibe on my toe side edge. I'm going to turn, and now I'm going to be riding toe side coming in, left foot forward, my strong toe side, and now I'm going to switch to heel side. And now when I go to jibe on the other side going in, I'm actually going to switch my feet before my jibe and now do my turn on my heel side edge. So I'm actually always switching my feet on my same tack. And this isn't necessary by any means, but this is just a way to kind of always put yourself on your strong side forward. So think about the wind direction relative to your stance and how you're riding, and it might make sense to always be switching your feet on that same tack. So breaking down the jibe itself, regardless of your stance. First, let's talk about here. Let's talk about a jibe on my heel side edge. So if I'm riding in, right foot forward, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to my toe side edge, and now I'm gonna go ahead and initiate my jibe. When I'm riding toe side, there's a couple of main things to think about in your jibe. One is how tight of a turning radius. Do you want like a big, long, carving, powerful jibe, or do you want to keep it really, really short and tight? And that's going to be kind of decided by how aggressive you are with the kite, how low your kite is. So if you put the kite low and you do like a big kite movement where it pulls a lot of power through the wind window, you're going to do a really big arcing, carving turn, which can be really fun. But maybe you don't want to go that far. Maybe you're too powered. Maybe you don't want to go that far downwind. Now, if you keep the kite much higher and you just slowly move the kite just across the top of the wind window, put a lot more weight on your back foot, you can really pivot that turn in a much tighter area. So how aggressive we move the kite, how low we move the kite is going to help decide how big of a turn we do. Now, in actually doing the turn itself, what we want to focus on, one is our stance. I like to bring my back foot a little farther back, get my back foot over the fins, that way you have a little more control. You can really put weight on your back foot and carve that turn hard, because what you really want to do is keep line tension through the turn. If you lose line tension, you're going to kind of lose steering, and you're gonna lose momentum as well. Now, the other thing to think about is in keeping that line tension is when do you steer the kite, when do you turn the board? Now, what you don't wanna do is start turning the board maybe at the same time as you start turning the kite, and you certainly don't wanna start turning the board before you start turning the kite. Because if you start turning the board, now I start heading downwind, and my kite's gonna kind of end up over here. My bar is gonna come across the board, and my kite's gonna be on the edge of the wind window. So what I wanna do is always lead with the kite, regardless if you're going into it heel side or toe side. So I'm gonna turn the kite. I'm gonna decide how aggressively I wanna turn it based on how powered I am, how big of a arc of a jibe I wanna do. So I'm gonna turn the kite. There's always a little delay in your kite, longer delay with a bigger kite. We're gonna turn the kite, and then we're gonna follow the kite through that jibe. So kite first, and then turn the board second. Weight on your back foot, weight over your heels, and we're gonna do a nice heel side turn, and we're just gonna follow the kite all the way through, keeping nice consistent line tension and nice consistent power. And then we're gonna come out riding heel side. Now, on the contrary, we're gonna jibe on our toe side edge, but it's the exact same principle. We're gonna be riding heel side. I'll kind of move my back foot back a little bit where I've got a little more control to carve a tighter turn if I want, and just have that control to kind of almost make micro adjustments through my jibe to keep nice line tension. And then I'm gonna lead with the bar. I'm gonna turn the kite first. As soon as that kite starts turning, I put my weight back on my back foot, weight on my toes. I start making that carve. And now, if I feel like I'm carving too tight and I need to kind of go downwind a little bit more because I'm building up too much line tension, if you shift a little weight forward, you're gonna start straightening out and doing a bigger arc. But if you really keep that weight back, you're gonna carve a really tight turn. What I see some people do is they turn the kite aggressively and they get pulled forward, and all their weight ends up on their front foot, and you go flying straight downwind, straight at the kite. You lose line tension, and sometimes the kite goes out to the edge of the wind window. And that's because you didn't complete that turn. You wanna really do a nice arcing carve and come out riding in with good line tension. If you get stuck going straight downwind at the kite and the kite's already turned, then you're going downwind, the kite's heading in, and the kite's gonna go to the edge of the wind window, lose all power. You're gonna essentially stop and kind of sink down into the water. So the key is really that follow through. We're gonna steer the kite, then we're gonna steer the board, do a nice turn, leaning over a toe side edge, keeping line tension, keeping that consistency, and then go ahead and get onto your toe side edge and look into the wind. Let go of what's gonna be your new front hand. You know, after you've initiated that turn with your top hand and the kite's facing a new direction, you can let go of that hand, extend that arm into the wind to open your body into the wind to help you get weight over your toe side edge. That way you can edge toe side and re-engage the kite, re-engage that line tension, and be riding the other direction. And then when you're riding out toe side, bring your kite up just a little bit. That way it helps balance yourself out, and you can go ahead and switch yourself back around to your heel side edge, and you're off and riding. After you've completed your jibe and you're riding out toe side or heel side in your other direction, sometimes you'll notice your kite's really far towards the edge of the wind window, where other times it's deeper. And this just depends on how quickly you move the kite, how you edged, and a lot of it's your kite itself. You know, a wave-specific kite that sits deeper in the wind window is gonna stay in that power zone better, and that's exactly why that kite is meant for riding waves. But if you do find that you've come out the other end of your jibe, you're facing the right direction, but you don't have any power in your kite, and your kite is too far on the edge of the wind window, at this point, if your kite's nice and high, it's pretty easy to pull on your bottom hand and give the kite a nice power stroke. And if you feel this is happening, if you can kind of, you know, realize this is happening ahead of time, you can kind of intentionally put the kite a little bit higher, and when it's higher and you diving that kite's gonna work it back in the wind window and keep it in the power zone. So this kind of depends on your jibe. This depends on how powered you are. It also depends on just how much you sheet out and how quickly you sheet out towards the end of your turn for how quickly your kites can accelerate forward. But if you do find your kites accelerating forward and leaving you at the end of your jibe without power, be aggressive, make another little power stroke with that kite to bring that kite back in the power zone, and keep your momentum riding out the other side. So it's a great way to, one, just get comfortable riding a surfboard and make your first tacks back and forth, jibing each direction. And then obviously a jibe is a huge evolution and a lot can come from it. And eventually that's gonna be wave riding. Get really comfortable going, you know, from your toe side to your heel side edge as you're linking top turns and bottom turns on waves. So thanks for listening today. More videos to come. Tune into this channel for more riding, more ways to progress your surfboard riding. Look forward to seeing you again in the future.